Good morning, Sheila. How are you?
Good morning, Wayne. I'm great. How are you today?
I am doing well, thank you. And welcome everyone to 27 Minutes with Sheila and Wayne, where we explore the fascinating world of verbs and their impact on our daily lives. Join us each week as we delve into the different ways verbs shape our language and influence our activities, as we attempt to make a positive difference in our world, one verb at a time. And Sheila, what is our verb for today?
Wayne, today's verb is to report.
Report.
To
Oh,
report. And I was going to say it's one trivia question, but it's really two trivia questions. And I don't think anyone will be able to figure this out without looking it up. But we will answer this question at the end of the show.
ooh, okay. And
So
what is the question?
the first is, what was the shortest news report ever published in the New York Times?
Ah,
And the second is, what was the world's longest news story, which actually was reported it with in Reuters.
okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Did you know that Reuters, I started off with in the form of carrier pigeons?
No, were they
Yes.
spy messages or like news messages?
I don't remember exactly which all of them were, but I know that some of them were stock reports because
Oh,
one side of the end of the route was behind the others, and they didn't know what the stock news was. And so
oh,
this guy had these pigeons, and he would send in information. I thought that was very cool.
that is very
I
cool.
I read that a long time ago, so it was.
Now we have two trivia questions, one answered at the beginning and one at the end. I like that. Thank you.
All right. And so, welcome to episode 134,
Oh,
everyone.
yay.
This is so fun. So fun doing it with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wayne.
And what did you come up with your definitions to report?
I have two definitions. Number one is to give a spoken or written account of something that one has observed, heard, done, or investigated. And
Aha.
number two is to present oneself formally as having arrived at a particular place or as ready to do something.
Okay. And I have a few more.
I'm sure you do.
One, two, a lot of them. Here we
Okay,
go.
great.
To give a description of something or information about it to someone. The next one is to make a complaint to a person in authority about something or someone.
Mm,
To go to a place or a person and say that you are there.
mhm,
To make a public statement about something. I think you said that. To give an account of.
mm.
Here's another one. To describe as being in a specified state. Another one is to serve as a carrier of like a message.
Like a pigeon.
Three. Yes. For others, to make a written record or summary of something.
Mm-hmm.
To watch for and write about the newsworthy aspects or
Mm,
development of.
mm-hmm.
To announce or relate as the result of an investigation. And here is one: to work as a subordinate.
Hmm.
And I liked the last one a lot. And what did you think about the word report when we talked about doing it?
When I first started researching it, all I found were articles about reporting, like news reporting, and I just didn't feel driven to go down that direction. But then I started about you report for duty to give a summary report on the bigger report. So I started thinking how many different ways you could use it in one sentence or paragraph. But
Okay.
but I've got some good ideas about it. And how about you? What was your response?
I, like you, as I started the research, I kept on the internet. I kept finding all these things about, how to write a report.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
7 ways to write what needs to be in a report, how to make a
Mm-hmm.
report. And I thought, okay, look, I've been to school, and most of us who are who are listening here have
Right.
too. So, you know what? I don't think we want to go back and do an English lesson or
No,
on how
no,
to write a report.
no. Thank you.
Yes. and, and so I said, well, going back to the last definition, to work as a subordinate. And I thought, huh,
Right.
I have been a direct report for other individuals.
Oh, that's how okay, got it.
And I said, huh, I'm going to find out how to have a better relationship
Oh.
with your director, leader, manager, whatever you want to call it, um, and being their direct report. And I thought there must be articles out there. And as you might guess,
There
yes,
were.
there were.
Okay. So in my circumstance here, I'm not sure who directly reports to who, either me to my golden retriever Zeke or Zeke to me. I'm just not sure who reports to who.
I
But
think that's probably I think you guys probably hand it off to each other every now and
okay.
then.
All right. Well, go on and I'll see if it becomes more clear as the morning progresses here.
Okay. So you want me to start? Okay, I will start.
Please.
So now the name of the article is that I picked was the direct report relationship, how managers can grow employees and build trust. You know, we like to talk about trust and respect. So I
Right.
said, yeah, this is the article for us or for me.
Okay.
And it was written by Kara Huto. And she says, you know, obviously that the manager and direct report relationship is one of the most important relationships in both parties' careers at work. And I thought, all right. And you know what? There's also ways to build trust and have that report relationship with siblings
Mm.
or children or just in a relationship as well. So I said, you know what? Some of these things are probably going to be pretty good for a lot of us just to hear.
Good.
And she has a list of a lot of questions that we have or could have. And so she says, first of all, responsibilities of having a direct report. And what that means is the person who's in charge that are is the report is the person in charge of three individuals, say,
Okay.
and they're the direct reports to me. Here we go. I'm in charge of a region in the nation,
Okay.
and I have three direct reports.
Hmm.
I have one direct report out of region one. I have a direct report who's in charge of region number two, and a direct report who's in charge of region number three. And I'm in charge of the whole region, if you
Hmm.
will, but we've segmented into three different places, and now I have three individuals reporting to me who are
Hmm.
to take care of those segments. So I say, okay, great. And so as she talked about it is she says, I know what is expected of me at work. This is the direct report. So region number one, my direct report there says he or she knows what's expected of them to govern, to lead, to manipulate, to whatever it is that they need to do to get things working in their respective region. And they're not to look at and talk about region number two because they're looking at number one. I'm
Hmm.
looking at all three of them. They're
Hmm.
looking at number one and
Okay.
number two. Okay, so the next one, another question is, I have the materials and equipment I need to do my work, which is very important. At work, I have the opportunity to do what I need to do best every day. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, this is pretty cool. And here's another one, to make a person at ease and have trust in their
Hmm.
leader, manager, whatever relationship. In the last 7 days, I have received recognition or praise for doing good work. And then I thought, huh, okay, in the last 7 days. So I'm thinking possibly another thing that the direct report can say, and the person who is in charge of that individual, they should have an understanding going forward. Periodically, I'm going to give you feedback. It's not going
Hmm.
to be every 7 days, but it might be quarterly or it might be monthly.
Mm.
And just I think there should be a relationship that's built between those two individuals or a conversation that says, when would you like one? Because
Oh.
this is different from an annual appraisal.
Hmm.
And this is just I like, and I like to do that. When I was in charge, when I was leading, I would sit down with the people that directly reported to me, and I would say, okay, on every quarter, I'm going to come back and give you some feedback on all of these kinds of things. What feedback would you like to hear from,
Mm.
other than the things that I'm going to be grading you on, if you will? And what I did, the reason I did that was because it let them know how they were doing in my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and if they had picked up their game and reached some potentials that they didn't know that they had,
Mm.
and maybe I didn't know that they had, I would give them attaboys and attagirls and pats on the backs for that. I would also be there to say, okay, you're slipping in this area. This
Mm-hmm.
area is weak. This area is strong. And I would just do that quarterly. So when it came time for the appraisal, there were no
No,
surprises.
no surprises. Good.
None. And I will stop there. There's a whole list of of questions that we can that I'm going to talk about. So I will defer to you, my friend, and see where you came up with so far.
I'm gonna. Got into reporting fraud government sites.
Oh,
And so I'm going to list several here, but the first one is about financial scams. And the website to report these is reportfraud.ftc.com. And there are some statistics here about in in the last couple of years the age ranges that are most approached with fraudulent claims and the different kinds of scams that are out there.
okay.
So I want to just talk about some of the statistics, excuse me.
Uh-huh.
First of all, and these were as reported to 28,000 law enforcement agencies.
28,000?
28,000 in
Oh my
these
goodness.
statistics here. And the site also tells you how to report and how to protect yourself. So it's really a worthwhile site to explore.
Okay.
But in the meantime, they said one of the big areas right now are we're all familiar with ATMs where you go to get cash, but there are Bitcoin ATMs called BTMs. And in the first half of 2024, 65 million fraudulent losses using BTMs. So I'm guessing just don't even use them.
Really?
Yes.
65 million.
$1 million worth of fraudulent losses. So
Oh my
then
goodness.
I know. Separate from that, who is who in scams? I wanted to know. And so the most impersonated companies, not we're away from Bitcoin ATMs here. The most impersonated companies through usually email and phone calls are Best Buy Geek Squad,
Hmm.
Amazon, and PayPal. And so the biggest losses, however, are when you accidentally accept a scam email or whatever from Microsoft and from Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. That's
Ooh.
where you get the biggest losses. Most often, these scams are email and phone calls, as I mentioned. The most money lost on scams is particularly those that are started on social media sites like buy gold here,
Yes.
fake ads, basically, buy weight loss medication here. And in 2023, this will be the last statistic I tell on this one. The one of the big scams was buying gift cards for people, buying gift cards, and those cards most requested by scammers were Apple, Target, eBay, Walmart, and Amazon.
Ah,
All the biggies.
okay.
So,
You know,
so
I bought a gift. I'm going to report here.
yeah, okay,
I bought a gift card,
okay.
a Visa gift card once at the grocery store,
Uh-oh, I know what you're gonna say.
and I went to the checkout,
Yep,
and the cashier told me, she says, "Did you notice that this strip is opened?"
right.
And I go, "No, I didn't notice that." And she said, "Well, yeah, somebody opened it and then pushed it back in as though it was closed, but it's
Hmm.
open." And she says, "I always check because what that
Good.
means is someone has opened it and punched in those numbers.
Yep.
So, and they have this little thing, whatever they do, so that when you, the buyer,
Mm-hmm.
buyer beware, you purchase this and then you go home and punch these numbers in, um, and validate it, it automatically goes to the first numbers that were
Right.
punched in.
Right.
And I was like, wow. So I shook her hand, said, "Thank you very, very much. I
Mm.
appreciate that."
Mm-hmm.
And she destroyed it and said, "You need to go get another one." And I did. So
Good.
I'm reporting to our listening world.
There you
watch
go.
watch that out. Okay. Watch out for
Thank
that.
you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Okay, so back to your list.
So okay, so this is really cool.
Okay.
So Kara says again, we're building trust between report
Yeah.
and direct report, right?
Yeah.
Um, there is someone at work who encourages my development. Yay, these are opinions that they have. At work, my opinion seems to count. Doesn't it really feel cool when you think that the boss or someone is listening to you, really, and take some notes and says,
Yeah.
let's look into that. It's really
Oh.
kind of nice. She says, the mission or purpose of my company makes me feel my job is important. And I think we all want to feel important. And knowing that really helps set that up. And again, the boss, the manager, the leader, the coach, whomever that is, can certainly communicate that piece, that connection with the employee, their direct report, if you will, as to why they are important and why everything that they're doing is important.
Mm.
It's kind of cool. She says, my fellow employees are committed to doing quality work. Always a plus.
Yes.
I have a best friend at work. I thought, oh, okay.
Mm.
Here's another one. In the last 6 months, someone at work has talked to me about my progress. And again, here we go. Remember she said, what, 4 points or 7 bullet points above here, that she said, in the past 7 days, I haven't heard anything, but now in the last 6 months. So again, I think the boss, the coach, the leader, whomever you're going to call that individual, needs to sit down with their direct report and say, how often would you like feedback? Um,
Mm.
because I'm going to give you feedback. So is and with me, the question was not do you want it? It's when do you want it? Because I'm going to give it to you again. Because as I said, at the end of the year, when it's time for appraisals, I want no surprises. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to know how your track record has been.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I ask them, how am I doing?
Mm.
Since they don't have to write a report about me, they can certainly tell me how I'm doing. And at first, some of the individuals who worked for me kind of looked at me with the side eye, go, I don't know about all that. And I said, no, 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 really, this is, I said, this is, there'd be nothing comes your way from you giving me criticism. It only makes me and you and my relationship better. And so I always, at the end of their quarterly kind of thing, I would say, okay, give me feedback. How am I doing? What am I not doing? What should I be doing? And it's just all right. So here's another one.
Okay.
Kara says, this last year, I have had opportunities at work to learn and grow. And I thought, yes. And I used to do that too, because one of my bosses was kind of weak in the presenting skills. And
Mm.
I wanted to develop mine and get mine better. And I would always raise my hand and say, hey, can I do that presentation?
Oh, good for you.
Well, I don't know how good for me, but it put me out there in front of everything.
Right.
And again, this is building that trust and the relationship. From me this time, direct report upward as opposed to downward. And
Mm.
they trusted me and said, sure. They obviously coached me and said, all right, you got to
Oh,
hit these
okay.
points and do those points. But they let me do it. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And so that's going from the relationship building there on getting that relationship growing for trust and respect.
Mm-hmm.
Here she talks about direct report relationship building questions. And I thought, okay, what are these questions about? And she says, open communication is a fundamental element of a successful manager and direct report relationship. Asking open-ended questions, not yes or no's, and inviting feedback in your meetings is an easy and effective way to gauge how employees are feeling at work. And some of the questions she says, are you encountering any challenges in your position? Do you have any suggestions for improving the way we work together? What keeps you engaged and inspired at work? I thought these are all cool questions.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm looking through rose-colored glasses, but I think if there was more of this in the workplace, I think we probably would have a better workplace environment. Not sure, just kind of saying. Anyway, I will slow down there. I'm not going to stop, but I will slow
Okay.
down there because there's many more. So I'm turning to you, my friend.
I want to say something that, so I am working very, very part-time with our our company now, and mostly I show up for staff meetings and marketing events, just as moral support for everybody else. But one of the things that we instituted, once a year, we have an offsite staff meeting. And one thing that became clear at that was something we decided to adopt for our regular staff meetings. And what we had been doing is giving everybody an opportunity to describe a success that the company had or that they had with a client or something.
Mm.
But it became clear that we have some very humble people and they felt like they were bragging about themselves. So we switched it. It became much easier if they could brag about someone else's success that they witnessed it
Oh,
or experienced. And so now at the end of the staff meeting, everybody's thanking people for doing this and that and the other. And you walk away with such a good feeling about the people you work with.
yes.
And you look for opportunities so that you can report them at the next meeting too, where people are doing things great. So that's been a lot of fun
Nice.
and goes
Excellent.
along with what you're describing there too, and building trust amongst the fellow workers. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to reflect on that. And
And thanks for sharing that.
my next point here is another reporting site is annualcreditreport.com. And this is another way people will send email scams. They'll say they're from Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. Those are the three credit reporting agencies that are, government approved.
Hmm.
And so this annualcreditreport.com is the place to go unless your credit card has an account set up for you through their online access. But this is where you want to go if you want to check how many accounts are opened in your name. Are they all
Mm.
they are
Yes.
accounts that you, or sometimes we go along and we don't use a credit account anymore and we forget we have it. So, but it's still lingering open out there. So you have to beware, though, they said, that you'll get emails from saying, this is Equifax, you have a new credit report, you need to check link here. Don't link from an email. Go straight to the source, unless it's, again, your credit card company or your bank that,
Yes.
that gives you that link. So anyway,
Good information.
annualcreditreport.com. Yes,
Okay. Nice.
yes.
Shall I continue or are you
Please
going?
do. No, no, no.
Okay.
Continue.
And I'm looking at the clock. It is already 22 minutes and 30 seconds.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes. So I'm just going to say a couple of things here, a couple more things. Some of the questions that I thought were really intriguing. Um, One, she says, and again, this is going back to the direct report now, talking the reporter, the boss talking to the direct report. Let me
Okay.
get that right. What projects have you enjoyed working on recently and why? How can I better support you in your job? You know what? I've had a lot of jobs, a lot of bosses, and I can only name on one hand some of those who came and talked to me says, "Hey, what do you need from me? Do you need anything from me?"
Mm,
And I think that is so cool when bosses ask that question. Here's one: how would you like to grow within this organization?
nice.
I Golly, it's saying, how can I help you make you better? What can I get you to that next thing that you want to do? So cool. What do you need from me to do your best work? And here's another one. Which of your talents are you not using in your current role? And and that goes to everyone because a lot of us have so many hidden talents. And again, like you said, your group, they found that they were bragging or seemed to be bragging, so it was
Mm-hmm.
better to say what they noticed someone else doing.
Mm-hmm.
And here the boss is saying to them, which of your talents are you not using at work? And when I would sit down with my reports, it's obviously one-on-one, not obviously, but it
Right.
was always one-on-one in
Mm-hmm.
private.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I tried to make them think feel that it was a safe space because it
Yeah.
was a safe space to talk. And what a better place to say, hey, I can I can do I can do presentations. I can write. I'm a very
Mm.
good writer,
Mm-hmm.
and I see some correspondence that leaves our division going to other divisions that I think I could have maybe enhanced it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. And so let me use those kinds of skills too. But what a a great place to do that and a great place to bring that up to say, how can we use your talent? Say, I don't know you have. And you can't get a yes answer if you don't ask the question. I'm
That's true.
sorry. You just
Yeah.
can't. So anyway, I'm looking at the clock. 25. You have a trivia question to go to, and I'm sure you have some burning things that you want to tell us before we go off the air. So I'll leave it to you, my friend.
I do have a trivia question, but before I go, I probably should have led with the whole thing with this one. Uh, there is an 800 number to report child abuse, suspected child abuse. You don't have to have the proof. You're asking
Ah,
for an investigation when you call this number. The number is 1-800 422 4453. But sometimes when someone's in a situation where the family's having some troubles, they don't so much need to have a child abuse report, but they need extra resources. So
mm,
there's a 211.org website that lists ways to help struggling families. And so, not in terms of you go get their groceries, but what resources are available for them and what the indicators are if a family's having trouble. So that might be what you want to do first, get them help before it becomes a situation where it's reported as a child abuse case. But back to my trivia questions. The shortest news report in the New York Times, the title was very long, and the title is When I Mistakenly Put on an Email Chain, Should I Hit Reply All Asking to Be Removed? And the news report was no.
no.
That was it. One word, two letters. No.
Okay.
Okay. The world's longest news story was Reuters. It was in 2011. It was the live blog of what was called the triple disaster in Japan, where they had an earthquake, a tsunami wave, and a meltdown at the power plant.
Mm.
It was 298 pages of live blogging over an extended period of time.
Oh my goodness.
And that was the world's longest,
Wow.
and probably most read. So
Ah, yeah. Well, thank you for all of that. That's great information and fun facts. And wow, and certain needy. So as
right,
they
right,
say, if you see something, say something.
yes,
Going back to child abuse or
right,
anything, any kind of
right,
yes,
right.
which is a form of reporting. So yes.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
And
Thank you.
thank you for the ways to make work a more positive place by encouraging relationships with the who you report to, who reports to you, and the people next to you too.
Yes. Okay. And so thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back next week.
Yes, we
We'll
will.
see
The
you
brand
next
new
week.
verb.
Yes. Thank you, Sheila, very much.
Thank you, Wayne. Thanks, everybody.
This is so fun. Bye bye.
Bye bye.